Here we go. It's week number 9, accountability. Yay! Week 9. I never dreamed that I would do it this long, but this really does help being accountable. Knowing that you have to get on every week and tell how bad or how good you've done, okay? First of all, I'm going to say, just starting right up, I lost 2.2 pounds. Not a lot of weight, but you can't lose 5 or 6 pounds a week, I don't think. And I tried. I did not go over the allotted 1,000 to 1,250 calories per day on any given day. I journaled everything with what I ate and how many calories it was and how much of it I did eat. I did some cooking this week. I did cooking. I like to do cooking on Monday for the whole week. So I've some of the things that I have had to eat were chicken tenders, and I just take chicken breasts and cut them into strips, and I bake them in shake and bake, or a product of shake and bake, something of that nature. And they're delicious. You can make them crispy, you can make them not crispy, and I just make a big batch of them and put them in a bag, and when I want them, I just go take them and put them in the microwave and heat them up, and there you go. This little non-cook's not gonna cook. Anyway, let's talk about my Fitbit for a minute. The Fitbit says that I walked 38,943 steps last week. That is up 3,271 steps from the week before, and so that's a good. I had a goal of 14 miles of walking. I actually walked 17.76 miles. And that's up 1.49 miles from last week. And that's good, because water and walking just don't work well for me. And so to be able to walk that much, I'm glad. I am not changing my goal. It's going to remain 2 miles a day. And maybe that'll change down the road. Maybe it won't, but at least I have a set amount of time that I do want to try to walk, and I did, and that's great. And actually, let me see here, I've got some stats. I burnt 1,054 calories average per day, and that's up 41 more calories burnt per day on average than it was last week. And I slept 5 hours and 17 minutes a night. That's an average, and that's down 26 minutes. And the reason I even bring that up is because sleeping is an issue for me. I don't sleep well, and I don't sleep long. And so I've been working on that. It was averaging like 4 hours a night, and so it's up, but it's still down, and it was 26 minutes less than last week. But I don't think I require just a whole lot of sleep. As far as activity hours, and remember, activity hours is 250 steps per hour or more. And I walk on an average of 7 hours out of 14. It's based on a 14-hour day. And that is exactly the same as last week also. And so that's good for me. I don't care. Again, I journaled everything. I wrote everything down. I wrote down the calories and the amount. And let's talk about accountability. What does accountability actually even mean? It means accepting responsibility for your behavior. Oh, great. And because accountability works, because if it wasn't for me going, I have to be accountable for my behavior every Tuesday when I weigh in, I would be eating that chocolate cake and homemade ice cream or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And because it's ever so in my mind that I've got to be accountable, it eliminates unproductive eating. A lot of it anyway. You know what I'm saying? Oh, and incidentally, speaking of productive behavior and chocolate cake, I made this week, I took fresh apples, cut them up, cooked them down, and put some cinnamon and some Equal on it, and took a pie crust. And a pie crust, I can't remember the numbers, but I calculated it out to where 1/16 of a pie crust was 60 calories. And I made little baby cobblers using tiny baby bit of crust. And it was delicious. You got a little bit of crust, you got apple sweetened with Equal, and you got it cinnamon. So it was a great dessert. It was 80 calories. So I made those, and they were good, and that worked. I mean, it worked for a good dessert. A friend of mine said, and she put it on Facebook, and I liked it. Anyway, it said, Kindness is loaning someone your strength instead of reminding them of their weakness. You know, that's pretty good. And I believe that if we was to operate worldwide, or pretty much nationwide anyway, on kindness is loaning someone your strength instead of reminding them of their weakness, I'm telling you, I think we would have better relations overall amongst ourselves, and maybe even with ourselves. But that's just my 2 bits. And thank you, Carrie Light, for that wonderful little quote. Let's talk about water for a minute. My water intake for the week was 23 bottles, which I think is down about 2 bottles. And that's okay, because, you know, walking in water, they're here. They're not best friends with me. But anyway, I drank 5 days. I drank 3 bottles of water a day. And then there was 2 days when I drank 4 bottles for a total of 23. I think last week I drank 25, but you know, that's plenty of water. And what I do is I set them out on my table so I can know how many I have left, how many my goal is, how many I'm going to drink, and then what's left, and try it. It kind of works for me. I don't know, but anyway, went back to work. The reason I even bring that up is because I think that's why my walking is up, because you got to walk around and work. And I will tell you all also, because I knew I had to work, I didn't walk around the block and around the park as much, because I was depending on getting that in. And again, I'm not big on, I mean, man, it would be great. They recommend 10,000 steps a day. I can walk 5,000 if I try. 10,000, I can't imagine. I've never walked 6,000 since I've had a Fitbit and been keeping a record of it. And this is like my 3rd Fitbit, so I haven't done a lot of walking. Not really interested in it. Kindness is loaning someone your strength instead of reminding them of their weakness. I really do like that, and I'm going to try to use that this week and try to remember that as I go. Let me see if I've covered everything I need to cover. My best day for walking was last Friday. I walked, well, it says I walked 7,602 steps. I didn't realize that. Let me see. Anything else I've got here? Sleep we've talked about. Journaling. Diet Pepsi. My friend Diet Pepsi. I love it. I will tell you that I cooked some food yesterday for all this coming week, and I took fresh asparagus and fresh green beans, and I took real thin New York strip steaks that had that little bit of fat on both ends, kind of, you know, on the side where it is cut off. And I wrapped that New York strip steak around bundles of fresh asparagus and bundles of fresh green beans, and I grilled it. And as you grill it, all those juices fall into the either asparagus or green beans and kind of moisten them and flavor them, and it was delicious, and it really kind of looked cute. So I like that. I think a good meal. I'm not a cook. I don't know how to cook. I don't like to cook. I guess everybody knows how to cook. I don't like to cook. So, but what I do like is for it to look good. And let me tell you, those little bundles of asparagus and green beans with that New York strip, perfect. And then I made a little brown sauce, 35 calories, 1/4 cup, and poured it over the steak, which was wrapped around the green beans and asparagus, and it was great. I mean, it was very, very good. And I thought I was at some nice restaurant. And that's saying a lot for somebody who didn't like to cook. I really think that's all I've got. At least we're on week 9. At least I'm still losing. I wish I had a real total of how much I had lost so far, but we're going to keep going. I think I told you last week I bought 1 size smaller pants and 1 size smaller t-shirts, and that's nice. But I really think that's all I got. I just want to remind everybody, if we just try this for a week and see how it goes. Kindness is loaning someone your strength instead of reminding them of your weakness. Again, keep me in your prayers as far as this weight loss thing, because let me tell you, it is not easy when you are totally attracted to wonderful, fresh, warm, hot chocolate cake. Guys, have a wonderful week. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate it. It really helps me. It has helped me. It has made it possible for me to lose as much as I have. And I recommend it to anybody and everybody. And until next week, I hope everybody has a wonderful week. I hope everybody shows love to one another. And I hope that I'll see you back here next Tuesday. And until then, have a wonderful day. And thank you so very much.